So I spent a little while thinking about how I'm going to do this video, and I figured at the end, I'm just gonna do every single blaster that I received because I was given a small collection of these from Kraken Wise while I was at Ragnaroktoberfest 2019. And most of them are reshells. In fact, most of them are reshells on top of reshells, but they're vaguely interesting to a degree. And I mean, how do we know if they're any good? You'll have to like look at them and see if you want to get them or something like that if you find them for a good price. Most of these, I think, if not all of them, have the sticker still on them for how much they cost from DDS discounts. I don't know what that is, but I've never seen these before, and I don't know how much information there is out there on them. So I figured we'll start talking about the Fastshots line, because I have quite a few of these. And if you've noticed, this is a blaster you've seen probably a dozen times in 20 different shells. It's the Dart Tag Stinger. It's a jolt. It is literally a jolt. It is just a jolt with a fancy shell on it. And they call these the Omicron and the Vita. They got a trigger, they got a missile, it's a 2-blaster pack, and, well, that's pretty much it. In fact, I'm not even gonna open this because it's a jolt. It doesn't even matter how well they perform, it's gonna perform like a jolt. That being said, on the back of the box here, there is some interesting stuff, like the Omega, vaguely interesting looking blaster, the XI, which looks to be a reshell of the Dart Tag Hyperfire, the Phi, that looks like a reshell of one of the Zuru blasters, and then the Sigma, which is some kind of, I'm guessing, Reflex 6 looking thing? So there's some interesting things in this line, and the weirdest part is, out of all of these, I still have more blasters. This is the only one I actually have. Boom. And I haven't looked at this box at all. That's the only one of the boxes I've really looked at. So here is the Sigma pack, which again looks to be some kind of Reflex 6 looking thing. Oh, and the Delta, and on the back of the box it shows the Omicron, the Omega, the Z. I can't pronounce these things, and the Phi, whatever. It comes with triggers, it comes with missiles. I like the fact they call them missiles, that makes me happy. And again, they got some really cool detailing, but this exact mold, I don't think I've seen before, which makes this a little more interesting than normal. But the other weird thing about these are they don't really feel like they're all that cheap. They actually feel like they have some substance to them. And wow, this is the worst. Like, it almost looks like it would be comfortable. And then you can see this trigger. That's horrible. But does it work is what I wonder. So it does rotate that on the prime. There's actually, it's coming apart there. I take back what I was saying about the shell quality there. It sounds like it works. Let's see if it actually shoots a dart. It does feel a little bit sticky. These might be kicking around for a while. I'm not entirely sure. That one double red, but the first one was in the 50s. The second one was at 45. Well, it's at 70 on that one. I'll believe it when I see it. 50. It is double reading all these all of a sudden, and I'm not quite sure why. Let's just say mid-50s. So not great, not bad, definitely not comfortable, and while it does look pretty cool, and it is, again, really well detailed, there's lots of decaling and paintwork going on here. And on both sides of the shell, Hasbro, take note. But it's like, it's not meant for human hands. Like, the grip is not bad at all, but then there's that trigger well, and that's horrible. Plus, you can't really fit your hand into the back of that. Again, something, what was this 2-pack costing? 12 bucks. I don't know if I'd buy that, but it definitely is a weird and interesting thing. But we've gotten the two lamest out of the way, because this starts to get really interesting with things like the Shootout Beta, which was an $11 blaster, which is pretty good, and this one's already been opened up and removed out of the package, and it looks absolutely awesome. It's kind of splitting in some places, but it feels a lot sturdier than like the original Vigilante from like the, is that a Zuru blaster? I'm pretty sure that is, because they've released the new Vigilante that's pretty much the same thing, but cooler looking. But this looks fantastic, and again, paint job on both sides, decaling on both sides. Really nice looking shell rework here. This thing looks phenomenal. Question is, how does it perform? Well, we actually have some of the original darts here too that we can take out, and They do look a little weird. They're kind of your standard dart, what you would expect, but the heads are kind of weird shaped. Not quite sure why they decided to do that, but I have a feeling on how this blaster works. You're gonna break it open, you're gonna load 2 darts, close it up, pump it. That hit reasonably hard, and I think that has to do with the hard heads. These are like almost FVJ style. These would really hurt getting hit by. Great, I don't know which barrel fired. Hopefully it's the bottom one. 70? That seems about right. Bottom barrel. 62. 72. So this does hit about what you'd expect from something like that, but it looks absolutely awesome. This is a very cool, well-designed blaster. For 11 bucks, just to have one again, it feels really solid. It doesn't flex like the Vigilante did, and I'm quite intimate with the Vigilante because I turned one into a gunblade. This, I think, would look a lot better for something like that, so I'm going to cherish this one if I have a project in the future. This is something that I would recommend picking up if you see it out there. It's just a Vigilante, but it looks cool, functions okay enough. I like this one, but what if we actually had a war practical blaster in this line? Something that was very exciting a few years ago and still today has a lot of very dedicated fans. Yep, they did one of the super drum called the Rapid Gamma. And I didn't take a look at the other box. It looks like this one was 18 bucks, which is about what I'd expect for something like this, but on the back, it shows the Beta, the Epsilon, and the Sigma. The Epsilon just being a Tech 3 ripoff there. But I think the most important thing is that this is a, well, super drum knockoff with a different shell. So this one looks like it's been well loved. Let's go ahead and get this one out of the package. So pretty much what you'd expect still has the little supporting brace thing on, although they've upgraded it with a little piece right there, which I guess that's literally just a wrist brace now. It can't be used for anything else. Grip is reasonably comfortable, although there seems to be less room right here. So while I can still fit my fingers in there, it's not entirely great. I want to know if this thing still has slam fire. I assume it does. Locking pin that I can completely remove. The front is completely redesigned and honestly looks a lot better in my opinion, like the chunkier sci-fi aesthetic. But more interesting enough that this was taken apart at some point, and now I remember why this was, because Michael had figured out that this was hollow, so he could put a light in it and kind of put this thing together, I'm assuming, and have a light up drum, if you can see that. That was his entire plan with us, and honestly, a really good idea for something like this. I don't know if you can do this with the original Super drum, but that was something I remember him showing me. All right, should be able to just kind of tuck that in there right there. Put that through like that, take the pin, put that through. Hopefully that is reversible. It doesn't really feel like it. We'll figure that out later. And yeah, the grip is not nearly big enough, so it's a little bit smaller, but I don't think this has slam fire. I think they removed the slam fire mechanism from this super drum knockoff. No, it kinda has it? How did... Like, 81, 76, 83, 84, and 83.3. If I had spent 18 bucks on this, I'd be pretty happy because it's a super drum, but it's really a cool super drum, one that probably nobody else is gonna have. It's like a skin and like a free-to-play shooter. It's like a crazy cool variant of the same blaster. Not nearly as comfortable. I'm gonna say that right up front. This trigger, while huge, not as small as the Reflex 6 knockoff, the Sigma that we looked at, but not that bad. Overall, I'm rather pleased. I don't know if you can still get these things anymore, but if you happen to find them, might be an interesting curiosity to pick up. I, of course, think the Super Drum is an amazing blaster. Slam fire and gigantic capacity and all that with 40 freaking darts. But, again, you could just pick up a normal Super Drum. I'm pretty sure they still have them in some places. Can I, is there like a... Oh, I was hoping I could like flip this around or something like that. Just like with the Super Drum, you're gonna wanna remove this thing almost immediately. And that's the lot. I don't know how you feel about these things. I think they're rather cool. Can I remove this pin? I actually did not check that. Yep, I can totally remove that pin. Good. Yeah, no, these are pretty freaking sweet. It's rather comfortable. It's got a pretty small grip up here, but it fits my hand perfectly. It looks freaking cool. It's a lot sturdier than the Vigilante, at least the Gen 1 Vigilante that I'm thinking of. And it has all the same nifty cool features. So if I wanted to make a Gunblade again, I think I would rather use this as the base. I wouldn't pick up these things though. The Jolts are Jolts. You can get Jolts pretty much anywhere. These things are horrendous though. And this is just an anomaly. I mean, if you like the Super Drum, I don't see a reason not to look out for something like this, which is just a weird, rare version of the Super Drum. It's just that a Slamfire doesn't seem to work all that reliably. Not entirely sure why. That could probably do with some fixin', but an interesting little group of blasters. Thank you very much, Kraken Wise. I do really appreciate it. Not quite sure what I'm gonna do with them, although I do want to experiment with that light up drum thing, because I think that's just a nifty idea, although I have no idea what the heck this came from, and hopefully I can fix the LEDs that aren't lighting up. Yeah, that should be fixable. Anyways, I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video, and of course I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta up,